Oh yeah, welcome to Fat Fuck Fridays. And I've got my fucking pythons out on display. The fucking double barrel shotguns. The fucking real life Twin Peaks. When they ask you, have you been to the fucking mountaintop? You tell them I am the fucking mountaintop. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I used to think back in the day that guys will train for girls, right? To get girls. But in reality, a man would appreciate another man's body more than a female does, right? So is that, do guys still actually train to get girls, or do they train because they want to impress the boys? You know, is it like I want to impress this guy, so I'm gonna train. I'm gonna fucking show my biceps. I want people to envy me. I want that guy to say I look good. Who fucking knows? So when I throw these bad boys up, is it Mr. Steal Your Girl or is it Mr. Steal Your Man's? Who fucking knows, right? Who fucking knows? But I just got that fucking. I just feel like flexing on everybody today for some reason. I feel like I got that thing, when I walk into the room, you don't even have to see me. But when I do this, everybody just like, does one of those. They kind of perk up a little bit. They feel the essence down their spine. They feel that essence in their butthole. As soon as I walk into the room, as soon as I take my hoodie off, and I hit them with those fucking 1-2 hitters, these fucking long arms of the law, these fucking lady cuddlers, then they feel me down their spine and tickling their butthole. But look, I don't even know what the fuck I'm saying, to be honest with you. You give me a mic, you give me a chance to speak, and it's like, who the fuck knows what's gonna come out of my mouth? So don't take me too seriously. It is what it is, man. I'm just having a little bit of fun, just having some good times, entertaining myself, entertaining the people, giving the people what they want to hear, you know. But it is Friday, May 15th, and I told you we're going to hit you with the new upload schedule. So Mondays and Fridays, and to be honest, I don't know how I feel about it. I kind of enjoyed having that Monday, then one day off, recording on a Wednesday, and then this week it was Monday, and I've got that 3 days in between, where it's like I'm not doing anything, and it was like, damn man, I'm bored as hell. I want something to do. Do I hit them with the 3 episodes a week, or should I just wait until Friday? But we'll keep this going for a little bit, and officially stage 1 of the, I don't know what you call it, stage 1 of the reopening started today, or started at midnight, which is fucking good, man. All the restaurants are open. Obviously, you still got that limit on how many people can be in there. So I think that they cap it off at 10 people. So you got some restaurants you have to pre-book if you want to sit there and have your meal. So you have to book, and obviously there's a certain time limit on how long you can spend there. But that's good, man. I like hearing that everything's kind of come back, right? We're going to get that opportunity to, hang out again. We're going to get that opportunity to meet new people. I'm going to get that opportunity to lick that girl's cheek, like I was saying last episode. I've been longing for that human touch, man. I've been missing that human connection. So I'm going to get that opportunity. Maybe find myself a PYT and lick a cheek. That might happen sooner rather than later. So it's all good times for myself. And I remember when they first announced this lockdown, and the first week of lockdown, it was like the longest fucking week ever. So I don't know if anybody out there has spent like time in hospital. So when you spend time in hospital, the days just feel so fucking long. Because I know when you're out and about and you're doing your thing, and you people always say, like, damn, there's not enough hours in the day. But if you spend a day in hospital, it fucking feels like there's 24 hours in the day. It feels like there might be fucking 36 hours in the day. And the first week of lockdown had me feeling that way. So the first week felt like I was in lockdown for maybe like 4 weeks. And now that it feels like it's almost over, it's like you got that feeling where it's like, damn, man, time flew by. I don't know if there's anyone out there wishing that they were still on lockdown, because I want to get out and about, do my thing, make money, you know. Um, but yeah, now that it's all over, it just feels like, man, that was so fucking quick, you know. That shit was so fucking quick. Can't believe it's all over. And obviously, stage one only started today. But if you look at, I guess, how fast they went from stage one lockdown to stage two, it's like you'd probably have to think that their stage two of reopening is coming soon as well. And once stage two comes, that's when all the fucking gyms and everything open. So that means I'll be back to work. And I can't help but wonder though, because I feel like when this lockdown was announced, all them fucking pyramid schemes were out there fucking, licking their lips, licking their chops, standing behind the bushes, ready to pounce. You know, because obviously the pyramid schemes, they love that. They promote that, work from home type situation. So they were all out there ready to pounce. And I'm just saying, like, no disrespect to pyramid schemes. I'm sure some of them are great, and you have the chance to make a lot of money with a lot of them. But personally, I got a little bit turned off pyramid schemes, and I'm gonna tell you the story, man. I'm gonna tell you why I got turned off pyramid schemes. And it wasn't like I never joined one and I got screwed over. Like, I never joined one and got screwed over. But back in the day, man, I used to work with this one individual. So it was a new company. It's a new company. About, I think they hired about 50 people. So one of the guys, when you're in a new environment, you're just out there making friends, trying to get to know people. So one of the guys, obviously, I became friends with him. He was asking me a little bit about what I used to do, prior to joining there, and I was telling him, I'm from the fitness industry. I used to do this, that, one, two, three. And he was like, oh, yeah, that's really good to know. I'm part of this one company. And he was kind of like trying to explain that, it's, we buy from another company and you have the chance to make a lot of money. So I'm just like, all right, cool. So every time I would talk to him, he would always kind of ask, like, tell me a little bit about this in your past, tell me a little bit about that. And he said, like, oh, look, I'm really happy that you told me that, because, I'm looking for people to get in business with, and I feel like you'd be a great fit, like your mentality. I'm like, all right, cool, that's nice of you to say. Obviously, at that point in time, it's like you got to be careful, obviously, who you go in business with, right? I'm not just gonna know someone for like a day or so and like go into business with them. Obviously, unless they have that, you can see their background and they've got that experience. Obviously, if someone was like, obviously, if like say Elon Musk came to me and was like, I want to go into business with you, I'd be like, all right, obviously, because you know who he is, and he's got that history. He's a successful man. But if it's like some guy that you don't know and you don't really know too much about his business, it's like you're not going to say yes, right? So, anyways, he's still kind of, yeah, he keeps asking me. He's like, oh, look, I've got this thing coming up. It's a place where entrepreneurs gather together. They talk about their ideas. It's a chance for you to meet like-minded people. So I'm over there thinking, because the way he described it, I thought it was going to be something like a Tony Robbins summit, just have that one speaker, people trying to motivate you, people talking about their failures, their successes, how they bounce back from failures. And it's like, shit, that's the type of shit that I want to hear. Because every time, I don't read anymore, I more listen to Audible, but back in the day when I used to read, it was more stuff like, about Richard Branson. I read one of fucking Donald Trump's old books, but I like to see how people, became successful themselves, right? The type of shit that they went through on their way to becoming who they are. That's the type of shit that motivates me. So I was like, oh man, that sounds really good. People talking about their businesses and everything. So I was like, yeah, that sounds pretty cool. And he just kept asking for some, I couldn't make one date, obviously, because of work. And then there were just all these other dates that kept coming up. So I was like, man, they do it a lot. Anyways, he was like, we've got a date. Because he kept asking me, obviously, you see this guy almost like 5 days a week at work. So he was like, yeah, yeah, come. So we went down after work. It was probably about 30 minutes away from where we were working at the time. I go down there, and then, I sit in the room. And, there's all these other people. You've got the person at the front speaking, and he's just going on and on about this one thing. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, are other people going to get a chance to speak? Like, what's it going to be like? So it was actually just him and his missus. And it was definitely an interesting setup. And like the longer that one guy was speaking for, the more I started to think to myself, it's not all different entrepreneurs getting a chance to speak. It's just going to be this one guy pitching his product. So I'm thinking to myself, oh, like, what the fuck? I kind of just want to go home now. So after that whole speech that man did, my mate was like, "Oh, let's just have a chat." I'm just thinking, okay, we can have a chat. I kind of want to go home. It's getting late. Got to work tomorrow morning. Then him and his missus sit me down. All of a sudden, his missus takes over. She pulls out an application form. And she's talking about the whole business. This is how you make money. All you need to do is sign up today, and it's only going to cost you $40. You get like this little sample pack, and that's all it costs, $40. And I was just thinking to myself, what the fuck is happening right now? As she was kind of pitching it. And obviously I've been in the sales game for a long time. I've done a lot of sales training, so a lot of the time when they use those certain words, you can kind of can understand what they're trying to do, because they always say like most people do this, most people do that, and it's that whole herd mentality. You try and tell someone that most people are doing this, and then that person automatically thinks, oh, I want to do what most people are thinking. Sorry, I want to do what most people are doing, right? You say, oh, most people jump on this one, and you expect that person to think, oh, if most people are doing it, shit, I want to do it too. But these days, when people start using those words, it's like, okay, obviously this is just kind of like you're just trying to sell me something. I don't know how I feel about it. I want to look into it a little bit more. So the whole time she's talking, I'm just thinking to myself, what the fuck have I gotten myself into? I thought it was one thing. Now it's another thing. They're trying to sell me some shit. So, yeah, at the end of it all, I was just like, look, I just want to go home, sleep. I'm not going to do anything right now. Let me think about everything. And then, she was like, all right, that's completely fine. I mean, usually most people just sign up on it and think about it later. But if you want to do that, but most people just sign up on it and think about it later. It's like, I'm not going to fucking sign anything right now, then worry about it later. That's how you get yourself into fucking trouble. So anyways, I leave that night. I'll go away. Obviously, I see him the next day at work. And then the first thing he says is, have I had a chance to think about it? And I'm just like, nah, man. So then all of a sudden he kind of gets all awkward. All of a sudden this guy, goes from being my mate at work to some guy I fucking just have to avoid now. Because every time he talks to me, I know it's going to be something like, oh, how was your night? All right, that's cool. Have you thought about it yet? Have you thought about it yet? You know that every time you see him, that's all he's going to ask. He might ask you one or two other things to kind of, pretend like it's not what his main interest is. But you just know every conversation is going to lead to, have you thought about it yet? Do you want to jump on? So that got really awkward, obviously, because I feel like on top of that, him just constantly asking, I felt like it was kind of like, he kind of like tricked me a little bit into going to that. He didn't really explain everything, and I guess you can say that's also my fault. Maybe I didn't ask the right questions, and that's a thing, because a lot of the time it's, I'll kind of put the blame on myself, because I feel like maybe I just didn't do my due diligence, and I put myself in that situation because I'm a fucking grown man, and I shouldn't have put myself in that situation. But anyways, yeah, so one time as well after work, I've realized that talking to other people at work, he was trying to get other people in as well. So there was quite a few people that he was trying to get into the same business. So he was pitching it to a good amount of people. So one of the boys was like, talking to me about it, and I was like, yeah, I actually went down to the thing, and it wasn't what I thought. So, anyways, one time after work, we're walking to the car park, and all of a sudden I run into him and one of the other boys at one of the restaurants, and he's like, "Oh, come sit down. I've got something to show you." So he's all of a sudden doing a little sales pitch to one of the boys, but he's got like a little booklet. So I think this guy couldn't make it to one of those evenings, so he's got the little booklet now, and he's talking about this whole sales pitch, or he's doing the whole sales pitch situation, and he eventually kind of like, well, the guy asked him a whole bunch of questions like, is this a pyramid scheme? And then the guy was like, no, it's not a pyramid scheme. So, anyways, the guy eventually leaves because the guy's like, oh, I got to think about it a little bit more. So I stay back with that one guy to kind of talk about it. And he was like, I can't believe he said it's not a pyramid scheme. Because if you Google that company, the first thing that comes up is it's a pyramid scheme. So straight off the bat, he was like lying. So he obviously didn't want to jump on board as well. And then I told him the story that he asked me to come to an event with all these different entrepreneurs, and but he wasn't what I thought he was, and him and his missus was just trying to pitch to me, and he was like, yeah, that's kind of fucked up. Obviously, because if you go into business with someone, the first thing that you want to have is trust. Well, the main thing you want to have is trust. And from that day on, man, I didn't feel like I trusted the guy. But that's my whole situation with pyramid schemes. Obviously, when you go into a lot of those companies, when you go into their websites as well, they've got all these fucking videos of people, of like these young people kind of like staring into the sun, and the sun's shining all over them. It's all this stuff like, live your life, travel, all that shit, and just kind of, I don't know, man, I don't like the way it looks, man. It kind of looks like a cult, no offense, but it's true, it kind of looks like a cult. And there was another time when people wanted me to jump onto something, and I kind of got the same feeling because they were just constantly trying to hit me up. Have you thought about it? Have you thought about it? Have you thought about it? Like, just shut the fuck up and I'll come see you when I'm ready. But I just got the same kind of vibe from all of them. It was just constantly hitting me up. Like, have you thought about it? Have you thought about it? Like, just shut up. And, you don't want to be feeling that way when you're going into like a business with somebody, when you're going to be business partners with somebody. You don't want to be feeling that way in terms of the, oh, come on, blah, 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 blah. Just leave me the fuck alone. Stop talking to me. But that's my pyramid scheme story, just in case y'all wanted to hear that. So what else is going on, man? Look, I haven't even done any exercise in 2 weeks, man. That's crazy, yeah? I feel like I don't look that bad, but I haven't done any exercise in 2 weeks. And hopefully these gyms are opening soon. But because I haven't done any exercise in 2 weeks, man, I've been getting these feelings like, shit, is fitness for me? I don't know if I love fitness as much as I used to. Come February next year, February 2021, that will be 9 years as a qualified personal trainer. So I've been doing this shit for a long time, but the more I do stuff like creating content and whatnot, all these marketing shit, it's the more I feel like fitness isn't my passion. I feel like all this other stuff, content creation, is more my passion. The whole fitness thing is more of my hobby, and I've kind of had them feelings before. I feel like I go through this kind of wave where it's like some years I love fitness, some years I don't love fitness, and there's always something that kind of helps me kind of get motivated again. So I've been having those questions in my head. Do I love fitness the way I used to? I do like exercising. I like even though I haven't exercised in 2 weeks, I like exercising. I like staying in shape. I'm a single man, so I gotta keep the body nice and tight. And then once I get married, I'll find myself a honey, a PYT, then maybe I can let my fat ass go. Because I feel like I'm a fat boy at heart, a thick boy at heart, maybe I should say. Because yeah, fat. No offense to your fatties out there, but we don't want to be fat. We want to be thick. and I feel like I'm a thick boy at heart. So I'll get all thick again once I find myself a honey, a PYT. um, but yeah, I don't know if this fitness industry is for me. I'm good at it. I love working in the industry. I'm good at it. So it's a good chance to make money, but I feel like already done a lot in the fitness industry. So, obviously, when you get into all these other things like content creation, you start to have those questions. Is it time for me to jump into a new field? Who fucking knows? Um, but yeah, maybe I just need to do something for myself to kind of like get myself re-energized. Maybe I need to compete again, because that's the type of shit that kind of motivates you. Last time I competed, you feel like you've pushed your body to a kind of high standard, but then once you actually compete or you set yourself a real goal, then you realize, like, in the past I was never pushing my body the way I thought, right? Because sometimes you can set yourself a goal and you'd be like, oh, I want to achieve this in 6 months time, but because you don't have an actual event coming up in 6 months time, there's something in your head where it's like, oh, if I don't achieve it in 6 months, it's like, who the fuck cares anyway? Like, I don't have anything. I'm not going to be embarrassed. The goal is all in my head. But when you set yourself a goal, like a competition where you're going to be in front of hundreds of people in your underwear, you're going to be up against all these other people. It kind of it's extra motivation. It's I've never been motivated to that point. And it was only when I actually said I wanted to compete that I pushed myself, because I didn't care about winning, but I didn't want to be embarrassed, and I didn't want to think, I'm spending all this money to compete and I'm not even giving it my all. So maybe I'm gonna do something like that, man. And I've never, like I said, I've never been in that great a shape. The only time I was in that kind of shape, it was when I was competing. Um, so maybe I'll do something like that to kind of motivate myself again. And even it was after I competed, I I loved it so much that I was really really motivated to work towards another competition. So it was like straight after competing, I was like, yeah, fucking go even fucking harder. Now it's time to get big. I want to get jacked, because I look so small on stage. And the funny thing about competing is, like, you do all that work. You do, like, say 12 weeks of fucking hard work, diet, for what feels like 30 seconds on stage. And they tell you before you compete, it's like, cherish every fucking moment on stage because it goes by so quick, and you hear that, but it's actually, when it comes a time for you to step on stage, it's like that kind of goes out the window. And maybe that's just because it was my first competition, but it kind of all went out the window. So you step on stage, you're there for what does feel like 30 seconds, or it felt like shorter, for like fucking 10 seconds. And then after everything's done, it's like, damn, man, I really should have fucking cherished that moment a little bit more. And I felt like I tried to, but it just went by so quick. And the funny thing was, prior to stepping out on stage, I was so nervous because it's one of those things that you've never done before. So I was so fucking nervous. But when I step out on stage and I'm front and center, and I've got this thing, right? Because they tell you, like, when you're doing all that public speaking back in the day in high school or primary school, what you want to do is make eye contact with people. So in my head, I'm thinking, I'm going to make eye contact with people. I'm going to make eye contact with the judges and hit my poses and smile. So I go out there, I'm front and center, I'm looking around, but the lights are so fucking bright, I cannot see anyone's face. So it's like, shit, I don't know who to look at. And the crazy thing was, right, because I actually don't really like attention, and which is pretty funny considering I put all this shit out there on the internet, but I actually don't like attention. So, and the thing is, to watch the competition and everything, it's actually pretty expensive. So it's like I told everybody, look, you don't need to come, I'm just doing this for myself anyways. But I had one of my mates there, but he was actually working. And when I was out there, because he was working for ASN, so he was out. So when I was out there on stage, I'm doing all my flexes. I'm trying to get the crowd all worked up, doing like that, you know, trying to get them to give me a fucking round of applause or cheer for me. And I'm hitting all these flexes, and I feel like in my head, I could hear someone chanting my name. It was like, go, go, yeah. I could hear someone saying my name, yelling my name. So I'm just like, yeah, 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 getting really into it. And then afterwards, when I'm all done up on stage and we go back upstairs into, you know, the men's room, I look at my phone and my mate's message like has messaged me, oh, tell me when you're gonna go on stage, tell me like what time you're up, and I fucking missed all of those. So my mate actually wasn't there. So I feel like the people yelling my name was just all in my head. Like there was actually no one out there yelling my name. But I'm full in the moment, fucking yeah, people, someone's cheering for me. I've got a mate out there. I've got one friend. But yeah, no one was actually yelling my name. It was all in my head. Um, but I fucking enjoyed that process. I do want to do it again, but I just know after all the surgeries, I'm like in no condition to. And I promised before doing that competition, I kind of said I was going to do one like years before I actually did it. But obviously, I always just chickened out. I kind of talked myself out of it. Obviously, with all the surgeries I've had on my leg, it was like, you know, I was actually telling myself, I fucking don't belong up there. I don't belong on stage with those people that can train legs, that have the symmetry in their lower body. I don't belong up there myself. Um, and that's the thing, man. That was the crazy thing because, you know, I loved it. I had nothing but positive feedback when I did it. But all of those fucking doubts, they were just all in my head. And it was like, what the fuck was wrong with me? Why did I keep telling myself that? But you know, we've all got those little doubts in our head, those all little insecurities, and that's what this podcast is about, man. Breaking those barriers, doing shit that you never thought you can do, and just trying to live a better life, man. But yeah, I feel like I'm gonna wrap it up there, man. Cause yeah, try and wrap it up on a positive note, a motivational note that like we always do. But that's episode 8, man. We'll be back next week. Again, we'll probably stick to that regular Monday, Friday time schedule or upload schedule. And I can't wait, man. Things are gonna go back to normal. I can't wait to start working again. I can't wait to start making money again. I can't wait to fucking lick that PYT's cheek. Like I keep saying, man, I'm excited. Shit's going back to normal. We're getting our life back. Fucking happy days, man. I love you all.